Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to go through a project lawn of mine. This is one of my friend's house and he needs some major rehabbing. Alright, so stay tuned. So this is a very nice subdivision, brand new subdivision, and what happened here is basically a neglected lawn. So it's hard to tell from this photo here, but they're completely jealous of these neighbors on this side. So we have a much different level of greenness. So we have a big difference between the lawns here, and they should have been all taken care of the same way as far as from the builders. So we're going to find out what's going on with the lawn. So it's basically going to be a big factor of neglect, or is it? So let's walk through and find out. So last year they had ChemLawn, or True Green now it is, take care of their lawn, and they did the full True Green 7 app treatment. So $50 or so a treatment 7 times a year, so you can do the math. Spent a lot and doesn't have much of any results. So let's walk through real quick. So they have, you can tell how brown this is, and all the other grasses are already green for the year. So everything else is pretty green. They have absolutely no greenness. So you got weed issues here, you got all along the sides there, and that's no surprise because it's closest to the blacktop. And this is where a lot of you probably also have the same issues, is for 2 reasons. One, you may not have good coverage, meaning if you're using a broadcast spreader and let's say you put the edge guard on, you might not be all the way over as far as you need to be. So if you're only over here and you're missing this section because of your edge guard is on, that might be one of the issues why you're not getting a full coverage. Another one of the issues, especially right now, the reason why this is coming up is because this is blacktop, and obviously blacktop heats up quicker along with concrete. Also, you'll see them along the edge also, and that's pretty rampant all the way through. So because it heats up quicker, that's where the weeds will start in the springtime. So front lawn is not too bad, and if you consider this not too bad, wait till you see the backyard. So looks like some issues on the sides here, and this is most definitely due to bad parking jobs, we'll say, bad pulling up or reversing. So this can all be fixed. This is just going to have to be, redone, new soil, and then, seed. Mix it with some compost. That would look great afterwards. You only have spots of weeds here in the front. You can see little bits of yellow, so it's not too bad until you get to some of these patches like this. So what I would do is I would regrade this and bring this up so it's all nice and flush along there. Basically, instead of just doing this one little section, I would basically rip out this whole section, so you don't have a little section of here that might be different grass seed or different color than the rest of the grass. And you could tell now about the brownness here because it's a better lighting, so you could tell that there is no greenness here, and there should be. So I would rip out this whole section like a big square right here, and I would reseed it, or in my opinion, maybe even use sod. I know sod is cheating in some people's minds, but it's the front of the lawn, and this is a beautiful community. Nobody wants to have their front looking like this or just empty dirt. So what I would recommend is a big square of sod. And that's, it's not too expensive, but just remember you gotta water it. And then you walk through and you see patches of dark green. This is the way it should be. And patches here, patch there, and you'll see the neighbors have a patch there, patch there. So surprise, surprise, I hope you guys know what this is. It's green, especially around these little water, I don't know what they are, water mains or fire hydrants. That's obviously due to dog urine. So dog urine, in case you don't know, has a lot of nitrogen in it, and it gives it a real big boost of nitrogen. But I'm not worried about that in the long term. This lawn has a lot of other issues that we're going to go through instead, much more important issues. So, but this is the way we want the grass to be. We want it that dark green, but this will only be temporary because nitrogen is all about it's only nitrogen. The way I think about it, nitrogen is growing from the grass blades up, or from the soil level up, I should say, versus if you want, let's say potassium or, other chemicals, nutrients, that makes the grass grow from the roots down. That's where you want to get deeper roots, from the soil level down. So this will only be temporary. So you can tell this lawn is all brown, all this light browning. We definitely want to fix it. I'll see if I can get a better angle here. But the front lawn is not too bad. Nothing light care can't fix. And again, you have more weeds and stuff over here, a lot of dandelions and stuff. So you might not be able to tell too much, but you could definitely tell where their lawn ends and where their neighbors begins. So pretty big difference. And we're gonna try and make this go the opposite. Instead of green to lighter green or brown, we're gonna try and get these guys dark green or emerald green with that Kentucky bluegrass. All right, so of course we can do some mulch area and stuff like that and draw some rings around it and change out the mulch, but that's a separate issue. So we're only gonna worry about the lawn right now. Just a full lawn rehab basically. And then, just like many new homes, this lawn chose to do seed in the back and sod in the front. So this is all sodded area in the front, which is the better looking side. And then you could see, boom, there's your line right there of where the sod ended and where the seeding began. Now, if your lawn is this bad, stay tuned for my recommendations of what to do. So not only do you have cracking and issues with the lawn, you got weeds, you got holes, you got lots of rocks in here. So this is going to take a lot of care. And what I recommend for this lawn, and this is pretty rampant all throughout, it's not like that with the neighbors as much. You do still see some of the unevenness, but not to the level that is in this lawn. I mean, this looks like a desert, right? So what I recommended to do is basically a full, just rip it out and start over. Let's do it right. So last year, like I said, they had True Green. This year, they said, hey, my lawn looks like this. I'm not going to be paying True Green anymore. So not sure what they were doing, but I'm going to get them on the right track with this video. So one thing that they did good is they did do a pitch away from the house, which is of course what you always want for drainage purposes. Of course, they also have a pitch, so you're going to have a valley in here, which is going to probably create mold issues in the future. So, and then it's also going to go to the drain right there, and they have the same issues with the pitching back and forth between the neighbors, and it's going to go to that drain there. Again, they're probably going to have mold issues in the future. So what I recommend doing for this lawn, but we're not going to go that route because I was told it was too much work. So some people don't have as much time. Care definitely takes a lot of time, especially if you want great results like I'm trying to achieve here. So what I recommend doing is raising this ground a little bit. So then if you raise that up, you can basically put all new dirt along here, and then you can basically rototill all this up and just basically start over, because this wasn't taken care of properly the first time. It was not the chosen methods. So the reason I say to rip it out, because of the fact that you have basically, I would say, 30-40% ground cover with grass, and the grass that's growing is okay. It's not great, but there's not, I mean, this is only a matter of time until all this dies, because all these roots, you can tell all these roots are all brown underneath. I mean, these are all exposed for the sun. I mean, this is the end of April now, and you're gonna have a lot of issues with sun hitting these and basically killing the roots. And once the roots go, I mean, it's only a matter of time until the rest of the grass grows too. So what we're gonna do is go through with the aerator. We're gonna take out all the rocks, because there's pretty large rocks like these guys here. I mean, there's a lot of them all the way throughout, and we're gonna go through and take those out, because you definitely don't want large rocks anywhere in your lawn, for your lawnmower, for your aerator, for whatever you're using. So we're gonna go through, take out the rocks, then we are gonna go through and aerate this whole thing. We're gonna put down new seed do a little top dressing, maybe. That's up in the air as far as if we're going to do top dressing, just so we could level out the holes. I don't believe we are. I don't believe he wants to do the top dressing because that's another step of work that's quite a bit more if you don't have the machines, we'll say. So what we're going to do is basically go through and use Weed Be Gone, kill all the weeds. I mean, we're going to have, I would say there's probably 200 plus weeds in here, and there's different kinds. You've got lots of different types of weeds in here. Most of these will be covered with the broadleaf weed control. So unfortunately, the pre-emergent was not put down this year yet. And here in Chicago, so this year in 2018, we had a very rough start to our spring. So a lot of people have weeds coming up because of the fact that it was hot for 1 week or even a couple days, and then it got cold. You know, we had like 60, 70 degree days, and then it started snowing again. 70 degrees, then snow again. I mean, it was ridiculous this year. So we see a lot of it, and I'll show you some other pictures also of some other yards. So he's not the only one in this issue, but you can tell that all of his neighbors are much better looking than he is right now. So it looks like this lawn across from him is the best looking one from the bunch. So hopefully we can fix these issues and get back to a nice lawn. But this is one of the problems you have with seeding new homes, is that you seed and you really don't want to put down pre-emergent for weeds or crabgrass. I don't see any crabgrass issues here, so that's a good thing. I don't see any disease problems, you know, like any lawn fungus, so that's a good thing. But there is a lot of spreading weeds, like this whole section right there, you know, but a lot of this can be taken care of pretty quickly if the pre-emergence were done. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to aerate the whole front yard, the whole backyard, and then we're going to do some seeding, and then we're going to put down Milorganite. You know I love my Milorganite fertilizer. And then we're going to put down some starter fertilizer. That'll give this lawn a great chance this year for 2018. So this is already middle of spring, so it's kind of hard for the timing. You know, I would prefer to start this early spring, but you know, it's not bad because right now we have a good month for the grass to grow before the heat really comes for the year. And on this side of the house, it actually looks pretty good. There's actually not too much difference between neighbors here, so that's a good thing. So this side usually has more shade, and that's what's helping this lawn do better. And obviously this needs some cutting and trimming, but that's all aesthetics, so we don't have to worry about that. So this side, we really don't have to do much at. There's not really many weeds. There's here and there weeds, so easily spot sprayed. But the good thing about this side, like I said, is the fact that it's in the shade for most of the day because of the way they have the houses here. So that is the game plan. Yes. So we just got the double pass aeration done on this project lawn, and it's amazing difference. Just had a little bit of rain. And we are using a lot of Scott's seed here. We're increasing it because you really can't use too much seed. We just had some rain, so the aeration was deeper than usual, which is great. Then we're going to put down some starter fertilizer. Alright, now that we got our grass seed down, heavy-handed the grass seed because, let's face it, it needs it. Now we're going down and putting the starter fertilizer on. That is step 2. So again, this side of the lawn is actually not too bad. Doesn't have many bare spots, as you could tell. So this is actually not too bad, just a couple weeds because there was no pre-emergent done this year. Because if we did pre-emergent in the spring, then we would not be able to do the grass seed, which seems like it's much more needed, right? So the starter fertilizer will definitely help get rid of the green line between them and the neighbors. Hopefully we'll reverse it over time so that we are greener than the neighbors. And we still have to fix this patch right here. That'll be done over the weekend. Anytime you got a patch like this or like this, basically what you want to do is till the soil a little bit, rake it, rake it pretty good so that you have roughly 2, maybe even 3 inches of fresh soil. And it could be the native soil. You don't need to buy new dirt or anything, because as long as the dirt is in good condition, you don't really need to do that. So just a matter of how pretty you want it. Look at that Core Aeration, beautiful thing. All right, here's our wonderful seed line, seeding here versus sod. I'm sure a lot of people with new houses also have the same issues. Milorganite is going out quick. So this looks like a pretty good lawn across the way. These guys, you can tell they have a dog. See all those urine spots? That's what that is. Now look at that. That is the Milorganite difference, I believe. So this lawn is going to be rehabbed. We're working on that now. This lawn is a pretty nice lawn. Don't see many issues other than maybe this little patch right there. But then that's that emerald blue green from the Milorganite. That's our goal. We'll see if we can match to them, everybody. This will definitely take at least a good year, because we're doing this application now of aeration, seeding, starter fertilizer, and Milorganite. And then we're also going to do the same treatment again in the fall. Fall, of course, is always the best time to do everything like this. Okay, everybody, here we are with a 1.5-month update on our project lawn. And the first thing I would like to point out is we've already achieved part of our goal, where we have greener grass here, and we are now making our neighbors jealous just with our first simple steps. And also you can tell that we have fresh mulch being put down now. Grass looks pretty thick up in front now. Might be time for a mow, but still good. Now, just from a first look standpoint, you're going to tell curb appeal right there. Gotta love all this nice fresh red mulch there, and there. Look at that line. I just love that. Look at that difference in line, difference in greenness. It's definitely looking better. And we are no longer jealous of these neighbors either. You could see, other than this little spot of dog urine, that I don't see any difference in color. Actually, if you want to be technical, it's actually a little bit greener here than it is here. I'm not sure if you can tell that on the video or not, but it looks like we're already achieving our goal. But of course, this is only the front yard, and we still have weeds here and there. I mean, everything's not completely done, of course. We still have weeds, spot weeds. Weeds will still be in effect because of the fact that there was no pre-emergent put down this year. There's definitely going to be weeds for the remainder of the year, but we're going to be fighting that battle day by day. Overall, looks pretty good. A couple random spots of dog urine, of course, and this was that horrible patch up here. This whole section was basically missing before, so definitely looks better. Still need a little attention. Looks like the weeds came in before the grass did over here, but definitely quite a bit better. And this didn't come in as good, so basically what they did was put in some new topsoil and do some seeding, because the first time just throwing down seed over the top really is not going to have much of a chance. I don't care what type of year it is. And again, same type of thing here. We got more seed that's going to be put down. So overall pretty good. So again, our goal right now is just to get the grass as thick as possible so that we can avoid any future weeds to come up. And again, this is done in the springtime. Very difficult time to do this, but this was the best decision that we could do. Now for the backyard, a much more difficult project. From first look, you can already tell that this does not look anywhere near as bad as it did before. It actually looks like there's more grass than there is dirt, which, if you remember my earlier pictures, that was not the case. So big step in the right direction with this last session of aeration and overseeding. And it's definitely getting to be the right color. So again, we're still going to have these spot spraying for the weeds on occasion. So one thing we could have done is put down a pre-emergent that comes with one type of grass seed, or grass seeds mixed with the pre-emergent. So there's only one type that I'm aware of, and since I haven't had any experience with it myself, we did not go that route. But I'll put a link to it below in the description if you wanted to check that out. It's supposed to work pretty good. I believe it's made by Scott's, so feel free to check that out. And still, overall, looks pretty good. It's hard to tell on this, but it's even greener on this side than it is on this side. And I'm trying to take this at the right time, so as you can see, it's all overcast completely. So it's around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So didn't want any sun factors or shade factors to be an issue. So, but overall, it's thickening it up quite nicely. Imagine if this grass had a pre-emergent down to get rid of all these weeds ahead of time. Man, we would not be having any issues here. This would look so much greater and thicker. You can tell this is the Milorganite difference. Look at this. Look at how much greener this grass is now versus this neighbor and this neighbor and this neighbor. This lawn with these simple steps has become the greenest. Now this lawn, if you remember correctly from earlier, you remember that this lawn was very nice. They maintain it very nicely, was very nice and green, but now this lawn is much greener already with these simple steps. And one thing I can tell already, that this lawn was very good, but looks like they are not mowing on a regular basis. You can already see all this grass clippings just mulched here, all the mulch clippings in between each, so they're not mowing on a regular basis. So they're probably scalping it each time, and they're cutting off more than that 1/3 of blade of the grass, which I know I've talked about before in several of my videos. So if you cut off more than 1/3, you're basically going to be ripping the grass, and you're going to have brown on the tops of all your grass blades. So you don't want that. So that's one of the things I've been encouraging, is to make sure that you A, have a sharp blade, and B, you also have a consistent mowing schedule. So not too bad. Obviously we have some weeds, no surprise there, but it's definitely a step in the right direction because it's getting thick. There's not that many open weak spots in the lawn. And then on the better side, where they don't have the extreme heat like they do on the other side of the building, you can tell definite greenness and non-greenness. So overall, the greenness is definitely there. Thank you, Milorganite. Very important. Now we just have to work on the weeds continually. I'll be very excited to see how this looks in the fall, but obviously we're not going to push too much growth or push too much of anything. We don't want to stress the grass in the summertime too much. So that's what we want to do. So we're not going to be putting down too much. We're going to do one Milorganite app on July 4th because that's what I love to do. It works out good because of that slow release formula. We'll still be putting down one app of Milorganite once a month just because that seems to be the best case as far as growth, as far as color, and it's great for your lawn. You can never put down too much Milorganite. So, no issues. The side's pretty nice and thick. And definitely love that red mulch. It's even redder than the mulch I use. I'm gonna have to find out exactly which bag he got. Maybe get the same thing. So this is your update for month 1.5. Next update will be in a few months. Welcome back to a little over 1 year update of our project lawn, and you can see the difference. So this is actually, this greener section, this is actually our project lawn, and this is the lighter green. You could tell the darker green from, yep, you guessed it, the Milorganite difference. Now if you're looking from the side here, you can tell a little bit, it's not perfect from the spreader settings, or we'll call it the walking paths. So there's a little bit better we could have done, but it does look quite a bit better, as you can tell. We're no longer jealous of our neighbors. Now the neighbors are jealous of us. But let's check. Do a quick little walkthrough. Grass looks pretty nice here. Pretty good green all the way through. No weeds in the front here really at all. And yes, their house is up for sale now, so can't give you another update because this house is already sold. Was it because the grass is so much better looking? Not sure. But for the sake of this video, let's just say that that was the reason. That was a selling point. And don't have any other issues over here. Are we greener than this side of the neighbor? Let's check. It does look like we are greener than this neighbor also. So it looks like a win on both sides. And we'll do a full walkthrough like we did in the first video, just so you can see nothing really to hide here. And this is looking really great after only a year of normal, easy treatments, we'll say. And this is just, like I said, mainly using the right stuff at the right time, better mowing procedures, fertilizing regularly, and also, gotta love it, the weed and feed and the aeration and seeding. Cannot forget those important steps. We'll ignore this present from a dog. You don't see that. Not gonna edit it out. So you can see it looks pretty good here. So as we're walking through, you'll see a few scattered weeds every now and then, but this looks night and day difference than it did a year ago. I mean, look at us versus the neighbors. That looks so much better than it used to. This backyard used to be, what, 30% grass and majority of weeds or bare spots. This is looking pretty good. Better than the neighbors? Can't really tell, but it's not worse for sure. Some parts may be better, some parts maybe a little worse, but overall this looks pretty good to me. So here's the backyard. You guys remember this? This was about 30% grass and maybe 70% weeds and bare spots. Really bad looking before, but as you can tell, it's looking much better now. And just for a sake of greenness, we'll show you here and do a full 360 for all the other neighbors. So you can see that the difference in greenness here, we're much greener than these neighbors, no question. And we're pretty much on par with these guys here, which seems to be one of the better ones on the block. And of course, the ground is not going to be perfect. It's only been a year, but what a year it's been, right? Keep doing this, and this lawn will be much, much better than it was, and will guaranteed be better than all the other neighbors. So this is what we're looking like now. Pretty good. No real issue spots anymore. There's a handful of weeds every now and then, but very sparse. 10 times, 1,000 times more grass there than there used to be, and many, many, many less weeds. And these bugs are all over the place. It is a rough time to be doing this video, but gotta get it done. This house is sold, so here we are. Remember this side? This was the side where it was almost all barren, meaning no grass at all, it was horrible with the unlevelness and also the weeds. But now look, this is looking really good. Like I said before, it is greener than our neighbor here, so that's a good thing. And also, really no bare spots. We fixed a lot of these bare spots with the seeding that we did, and also proper watering. Very important when you're doing seeding is proper watering. And look at this, it's not even bad now when you're looking from the backyard to the front yard and you see the difference. It used to be really bad difference, but look at this, you could barely even tell where the backyard was seeded versus the front was sodded. It's not bad. Now this is still a little bit thin. I will point out the little sections down here. You can see this like rut, I don't want to say rut, but this low spot. Now you can see this low spot right here in between these houses here. So this is pitched downhill and this is pitched downhill. So this is going to create, we'll say like a river or a moat, if you will, in between the houses. This is never a good solution. It's good for draining, yes, but the problem is it's bad for the grass because this is always going to be wet standing water here. And that's why it's real tough to grow good grass. You're going to have a lot of issues here in the future with mold and just sogginess. It's not going to be cut well. It's not going to look great, but every house has this, especially with new constructions, because this is what they do. They pitch them away from the house and then it drains to the street in the front. So, but it is what it is. It will get better over time, especially with a couple more seedings. And I did want to show, so now our back section back here is actually greener than our front yard. So that is saying a lot, because that used to be the worst part. Now it's actually looking quite well. So not really much work to do on this. This is looking pretty good. And especially they got their nice landscaping done. That always helps, especially in a nice last final video. So that is the last update of the project lawn. So if you guys have any other questions on this, as far as what we did, why we did it, or you have a problem in your lawn that you have questions on, make sure you shoot me something in the comments below. Transformations can be done on any lawn, just a matter of how committed you are to actually following through. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.